How you feeling, Judith?
This meeting is being recorded.
My voice is back. It's still kind of, people tell me it's sexy, but I'm not sure.
Totally.
Definitely, that's it. And you've been feeling better, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I was really feeling okay. It's just the voice. I don't know what happened.
Oh, you
Um,
look sad.
back-
That's the funny, like not the funny. You look sad, but literally, it's like I'm like, oh, Judith. We want to like wrap you in a little like quilt.
Make you feel better.
Yeah, give her a little hot chocolate.
I'm fine.
Oh. All right, guys, guess what's happening today? Coach Mary is going to teach Coach Linda how to bench.
How to bench press, yes. Our
What you got,
favorite.
Mary? Where do you
Our
want to start
favorite.
today?
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll move out here.
Okay.
I want to get hit by the bar. So we'll start with bench positioning.
Okay.
Just the positioning of your body in alignment with the bench to get into a good position. Can everyone hear me? Are we good here with the play and everything? Good, good, good. Okay.
And should I be back here, Mary?
No, we're going to start like a big issue I see, and I can even move this camera around a little bit. I can stand up. If I stand up, you can't see me, so I'll knee around.
And just so you know, guys, I'm going to do everything wrong so Mary can yell at me.
Okay, yeah, a big thing we see on the bench press is positioning either too far up or too far back. So too far up would be too far in front of the bar, and too far back, Linda, show them too far back, is your head way back on the bench and way behind the bar. You don't want to be too far behind the bar when you're doing it. So the position that is ideal is to get your eyes lined up pretty much right under the bar. So you want your eyes under the bar. So I would even come forward a bit more, Linda. You're more like mouth right now. Yeah. So I would come forward, and you want, when you're laying back, you want your eyes directly under the bar. Another position, the reason that you don't want to be too far back is because it really gives you no room to perform the lift. Like the bar catchers end up getting in the way. So you want to make sure that you have room to lower the bar to your chest without feeling like you're going to run into those bar catchers. And another thing to think about is your grip, like your hand placement on the bar. You don't want it out too wide, and you also don't want it too far in, because what that will do is it will cause your shoulders to round forward. It will make it harder to keep your lats engaged and your elbows tucked in. And it can also make the bar kind of feel like it's like toppling on you if your grip is a little bit too narrow. So a good grip to have is with your arms, your hands just outside of like shoulder width apart. I like to think of it like if you're down here, like, and you have your thumb extended out, like your thumb is just touching like the tip of your shoulder there, and then having it, yeah, kind of like Judith is doing too. Let's all do it. So that's a good grip width, a good safe one to start with, and then you see how it feels from there. So that's the grip width you want. So Linda, let me take a look at yours, and put your thumbs out. See, I would go even a little wider there. Yeah, that looks good. Just a little wider, so hands are like fully outside of shoulder width.
Trusting you, Mary.
Yep, you are. And then you want your arms to be somewhat like reaching back for the bar too. So obviously you don't want to unwrap it with it right above you. That's why your eyes should be directly in line with the bar. And I would even come forward.
You want me forward?
I want her forward. I want her more
trying to
forward.
say
She
that.
keeps creeping back. So yeah, you want your eyes like directly under the bar. That way when you unwrap it, you have to bring it out a little bit horizontally. You want to think of it like your arms are just a lever, like moving the bar into position. So that's the first thing to think about is your grip width there and having your eyes directly under the bar. You also want to make sure that you have very stable feet. So you want to make sure that your feet are not up on your toes, not up on your heels or anything like that. You want to make sure your feet are pushed into the ground and that they're nice and flat and that your feet are very stable. Think of it like if you were to try to push someone over, because you're pushing the bar, like you're throwing that bar up. if you were trying to push someone over or trying to throw something, you would want your feet stable below you. Like you're not going to try to like push someone and fight them like on one foot or on your tiptoes. You want to get nice and stable with your feet.
Mary,
So-
why do you always fight people?
Yeah, that's what I got to use the comparison for. So yeah, that you want to make sure you have a nice stable base with your feet, and even like walking them back towards your body a little bit to get as much drive as you possibly can through the ground. So Linda, can you walk those feet back at all towards your body to get a little more drive with the ground?
I'm getting a little uncomfortable,
Yeah.
Coach Mary.
And that's the thing, like if your bench press setup is really comfortable, that's not right. Like it's not supposed to be painful, but you're supposed to feel like you're really like locking energy in. Like it's not supposed to feel like, great, I'm laying on my couch now. Like, no, it's supposed to feel like rigid. Like it's supposed to feel tense. Like you want to trap that energy in. So don't be afraid to let it be a little bit uncomfortable. And then from there, another thing with your butt, you want to squeeze your butt, and your butt isn't just laying down on the bench. It's almost just like hovering above it a little bit. So you want to make sure it's nice and squeezed, but that it's not just like totally flat, because that's part of bracing your core, is having your butt nice and squeezed. Again, to create as much energy, you want to trap as much energy in as possible. You don't want anything to be loose. If things are loose, that's how you get those energy links or leaks, and you kind of lose stability on the bench press. So really squeeze that butt, bring those feet back towards your body while keeping them flat. And from there, have your eyes set up like right under the bar. Another thing to always focus on is bracing your lats, our favorite thing to say. So when you brace your lats, you're gonna better engage your core. It's gonna allow you to keep your elbows tucked in and your shoulders nice and stable and safe, which is what you want. So to brace your lats, you wanna think about really squeezing those shoulder blades together in the back and wrapping your shoulder blades like around the bench. Like you want to pack your shoulder blades into the bench. So you're not like, let me see, you're not like rounded forward like this. You want to pack them into the bench. Let me take this off.
Take that off,
Just 'cause
Mary.
it's hard to explain in sweatshirts.
Definitely.
So you
So
want,
Mary's going to be stripping now.
yeah,
Get
that would
ready.
make the best of it. Yeah. So you want to pack them into the bench and have them like squeezed together in the back. So that's another big thing. And that will also allow you to keep your elbows tucked if your shoulder blades remain squeezed together in the back. So wrap those shoulder blades around the bench. And then from there,
Just making me go back down again, guys.
from there, you really want to imagine that you're like squeezing the air out of a tennis ball with your armpits. That's going to help you to keep those lats engaged and those shoulders back. So when you're back there, imagine there's a tennis ball back there and you're trying to like squeeze the air out with it. And you're trying to like break the bar in half with your hands. Like you're trying to like pull it and break the bar in half. That's going to help you better engage your lats too. But everything I'm saying is just about creating like a lot of tension the entire time. So those are the things I would look at, and keeping those lats engaged. Again, hands are just about shoulder width apart to keep your shoulders nice and safe. So you want them like just outside of shoulder width, and play around with it. It's going to be a little different for everyone, but that's a safe place to start for everyone. As your thoracic mobility improves and as you become a little more experienced with bench press, generally your grip might go a little bit wider. That happens, but when you're newer to it, to have the safest positioning possible, you want to do just outside of shoulder width apart. And then from there, not underhand, over there. So from there, you're pretty much, when you're in this position, so your feet are planted, butt is squeezed, shoulders are squeezed back, lats are engaged, eyes are right under the bar, you're ready for the lift off at that point. And what you want to do is, before doing the lift off, you want to breathe deep into your belly and really brace your core, and breathe into your chest so that your chest rises up also. So really breathe into your chest, get everything nice and braced. And then from there, you want to take the bar out while keeping that stability through your shoulders. So you don't want to lose that stability when you unrack the bar. That's why having a spotter can help if it's a good spotter. If the spotter just throws the bar at you, you're going to lose your shoulders. Yeah. So make sure that when you're unracking that bar, that you're not losing that position that you just worked so hard to get into. So think of it as your arms take the barbell off the rack and they kind of just lever it into position. and then you take it out to slightly above like sternum level. So yeah, it's just a slight lift up and then forward with the bar a bit to sternum level. So it's like right above your like lower chest area here, pretty much your nipple line. Like the bottom of your nipples is where you want it to line up with once you unwrap it there.
Well, Mary, it also depends where you're.
It does. I was thinking that when I made this, it does depend where they are, but like a proportion nipples or something. So from there, you want to not think about going straight up and down with the bar. You also want to go just a tad forward with it and have a little bit of arc in your press. I wouldn't go that far forward. I would go just a tad far, yeah, to about right there, and get a little bit of arc as you're lowering down and keeping your elbows tucked in. Like notice Linda's elbows are not flaring out. Linda, show us what flared elbows look like. Yeah, notice how they're not flaring out, because if they flare out, you're gonna fuck up your shoulders. Your shoulders are not gonna feel good. You're gonna lose your lats, and that's how you risk a shoulder injury on your bench press. So make sure you're keeping those elbows nice and tucked in and shoulders squeezed together in the back. Those are the things I would look at there. And then from there, you want to keep that arch in your back. And then when you press up, you're thinking about kind of like throwing the bar up. Like you're very controlled on the way down, but on the way up, kind of imagine you're throwing that bar up, and not just straight up, but also slightly back. You'll get more power if you go slightly back too. And if you're like fighting through a hard rep, another thing to help is to really squeeze that bar with your pinkies, like you're trying to keep trying to break it in half, and really squeeze it with your pinkies, because that's going to fire on your triceps more. So you'll feel them start to work too.
It's interesting because like a lot of people are like, oh, my bench, and I'm one of those people. But there's a lot of other movements, and that's why sometimes in the programming you might be like, oh, we're not doing bench, but like you're working your triceps, you're working your lats, you're working other parts. So a lot of these other exercises actually will help you increase your bench as well. And like Mary said, triceps are a big one, and people don't even realize it. So
oh yeah, triceps are huge on bench press. Yeah, gotta have them. So from there, like other things I like to think, like on the lowering part of the movement, you're almost thinking like you're like rowing the bar down to you. And don't just think about lowering the bar to your body. You're actually bringing your body to the bar. And when you do that, it's going to keep your lats engaged. It's going to keep your shoulders squeezed together in the back. So that's another really helpful cue I find, is bring your chest to the bar when you're lowering the bar. Don't just let the bar come to you. Like you take control and you go to it. And that's going to help keep you a lot more stable and keep you from losing your lats on the eccentric part of it also.
Kind of like the transfer of energy, right?
Yeah,
that you're talking
yeah.
about there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely. Sorry guys, I had to unsqueeze my glutes for a second.
Yeah, we're gonna make you do it for 30 minutes. Keep those glutes squeezed. It's your workout today. So those are the big things I would look at. You know, thinking about really pressing the weight to the ceiling, like you're throwing that weight to the ceiling, like on the press up, while keeping those shoulder blades squeezed together in the back and keeping as much energy locked in as possible. Some common mistakes we see.
Let's do them.
Yeah. Let's see, Linda, what mistakes do you got?
Oh, I got so many mistakes. I mean, I think the first one was obviously like the first thing Mary said, because I was like back here and she's like, what the hell are you doing, Linda? Come forward, right?
I was very nice about it. I was like, I'm going to ask you to come forward.
I knew what she was really saying. So I think that is probably one of the biggest things that people will do. And it's not even as like it's so far back, but I mean, right now, yeah, my chest is right here because we're thinking chest press, but like Mary said, get under there and like really, really look there. So I think that's the biggest mistake I see. The big one that I see is with the feet. Because people don't think you need that leg drive, and you do. And that's why, like when Mary was talking about the body being like super, super kind of like tight, because you're transferring energy throughout your entire body. So having strong glutes, your triceps, your lats, those are like 3 areas that you really, really need to understand, that you're not just working glutes, you're working glutes to help you with your bench, you're working triceps to help you with your bench. So I think those kind of like, and your lats, absolutely. So understanding why we do different exercises to increase something like this is important, but I think elbows for sure, the feet for sure, and then the positioning on the bar are the top three that I see.
Yep, all true. And another one I would say is butt coming up when you're pressing up. That's not safe for your back. It's not helping you brace your core. Generally that means you're just going too heavy and you're letting a lot of energy leak out if you do that. So just for safety, like keep your butt planted and use a weight where you're able to complete the rep with your butt down. If on the last one you're grinding it out and you lift it up a little bit, going for a PR, not worth beating yourself up for. Be proud of the PR. But generally for training, you want to keep your butt down and your glutes squeezed and in contact with the bench.
Ooh, I know, like for you guys, any of you that have a spotter, so Mary had asked me to like give her a lift off at her meet, and she's like, go easy. And I'm like, okay. And I went whoosh. Can you talk a little bit about that, Mary? Because that was really interesting.
Well, if you have a spotter, you need to be really clear with them about how you want it handed to you and how you want it done. I go through like my cues with them. Like I'm going to say ready. I'm going to breathe into my chest, and then I'm going to say up. And that's when I want you to lift the bar up. So don't be afraid to be really direct with them, but also tell them like you can take like 80% of the weight. You just need them to help you guide it forward. Like that's really all you need. You don't need them to lift all 100+ pounds for you and carry it out for you. You just need a little help. And generally the movement is horizontal that you need help with, like from back to front. So tell them also where you want it placed. Like I always say, I want it like just below my nose, like just leave it like right below my nose, my mouth area. I find that to be a good spot, and they follow directions well there. So just because if they throw the bar at you, and this happened like 2 weeks before my meet with one of my spotters, he like threw it at me and I was going for like a PR, and it just messes up your shoulder positioning the whole time. So just being sure that they're keeping it really gentle. That's a big one too. And then another one that we see, and I'm sure you've seen this, is rounding your shoulders up when you press, and that will royally fuck up your shoulders too. So that's why it's so important to keep them squeezed back as you press up, and that you're not like pressing up and going like this, because that will really get your rotator cuff out of position, and that will mess them up.
You guys see that when Mary was, you guys see that okay? Because that's super
Yeah,
important.
so you're going
she's
here
back.
and pressing and keeping the shoulders back instead of going here and rounding them forward. And that's on any press, like that's on a shoulder press, a dumbbell press, anything. You want to make sure that you're not rounding forward, just like, on a shoulder press, that you're keeping them back and you're not like going like that. So that's a big one.
And that's a good thing that you bring up too, is variations, right? You might be working on your barbell bench press, but it's good to vary in and have like dumbbells bring in. You can do like close grip, work the triceps a little bit more. So understand too that you're working all of it, but having those different variations is super important as well.
Yeah. Another thing, there's a place for like eccentric training in your training, like where you're lowering the bar more slowly at like a 3-second eccentric. But generally, you want to get that bar to your chest as fast as you can while maintaining stability. Like, so obviously you're not just like, oh, I'm just going to let it fall. Like you have to stay stable, but you want that bar to get to your chest while maintaining control, because you don't want to use too much energy on the eccentric, like in regular training or if you're going for heavier lifts. So a lot of times I'll see people and I'm like, you need to speed up your eccentric, like you're going down like, at snail's pace, like just get it done a little faster. Like that way you're not using too much energy on that part of it. And there is a place for eccentric training. If it says like 3-second eccentric, do that. But
do that and complain loudly.
Yeah.
But it'll work.
But it does help.
Mary, what about if you get into trouble?
Oh, like you don't know what to do?
Or if you're up there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If you don't have a spotter, don't put the clips on the bar. That's the first thing I would say, in case you need to dump the weight. That's not ideal. I don't think I've ever had to do that, but I'm not shy about grabbing a spotter. I always grab a spotter. Judith, have you had to dump the weight? Yeah, you're
Judith, like me.
Have you ever had to?
I think I did once in the base, like in my home gym.
Here.
Because it was like in here. So what Mary's talking about is quite simple.
I'll show you.
Yeah, we can show you. Yeah, let's do that. Let's dump it.
If you can.
I'll just
let you struggle. I'll just sit here.
You're like, yeah, let's do this, okay? So I'm like up here, I've done like 20 reps because that's how we program. And now I'm like, oh shit, I can't. Just simply coming down.
That's why if you're training
Keep
alone,
going.
definitely
Watch out, Mary.
don't put those clips on if you're training alone. Another thing, like she has these safety rails in place, so they would have helped her.
Yep.
And I can show them.
But we were pretending like there was no safety
Yeah.
rails. They weren't there.
So it would be like my chest is to the bar here, and then up, and then, you know, I'm lowering here and say I couldn't get it back up, I would just kind of droop my chest down and let it fall. So that's another way to do it.
And it's like amazing how many people forget that safeties are there for a reason. They're safeties for a reason.
Yeah.
So also, like, before we got on camera with you guys, Mary and I were kind of like looking at that. Make sure you have your safeties set first. Like, seriously, like get in there, like practice. At first I had them down like too high. So I'm like, I can't get depth on the press. Then I had it too low because even if I like caved in my entire chest area, I was like, oh, we're still getting crushed, right? So definitely set up your safeties and make sure that you're kind of like setting yourself up for success. Oh shit, Mary's about to show off, people.
Let's answer some questions and then we'll do some
Okay.
heavy sets at the end.
What? Well, Mary's going to do heavy sets. Linda doesn't do heavy sets, guys. All right, let's see. Everyone's like, go, Mary.
Not going.
Emily, swing the bar wildly from right to left to align with post-baby nipples.
Yeah.
So true,
So those
Emily.
instructions
Yeah.
weren't too spot on, I guess.
I mean, you know.
But I did think that when I was coming up with cues, I'm like, yeah, they're a different spot on everyone. So,
And then as you get older, no, I'm just kidding.
hey, does anyone have any questions about their bench press, about our bench press, about anything you want to see us do within reason?
Anybody? Melinda?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Of course.
So sometimes when I am like almost to the bottom of my bench, I feel like, and I'm sure it's probably like an energy leakage or I'm losing tension somewhere, but I feel like my bar wobbles a little bit. I guess it just kind of really throws me off balance. Is that because yeah.
It's a bracing issue, like just keeping your core braced and your lats engaged more than anything. So yeah, and that's where pause bench press, and I'll keep this in mind for you, might be great to work into your training, to where you're having to hold it and stabilize the bar for like 3 seconds at the bottom before pressing back up. That would be the best thing to help with that. That way you're getting used to the bar being in that position and getting more stable in that position.
Okay. Thank you.
She's like, but I don't want pause.
Yeah, no, they're good. Pause bench presses are fun, actually. I like them.
I prefer, like, I you know, like for the longest time I didn't, oh my God, why do I have to pause? But
Yeah.
I find it really makes you, and it's like any pause movement, it really makes you think about your body positioning. Like
Yeah.
even the pause deadlifts, and I'm like, I hate that shit, right?
Yeah.
But it makes you really, really think about your body positioning. So yeah. Good luck, Shelby.
Yeah, pause training's good. We'll get them in there. Cool,
Who else has
cool.
got questions? Lauren, do you have questions? Oh, Emily.
So yeah, just a quick question. And it was actually at the Virginia meetup when we were all in your gym, Mary. I was helping Tracy on the bench press. I was spotting her, and we noticed that when she elevated her, like they had a couple little planks there. We put them down. She was able to elevate her feet, and when she had like a little bit higher foot support, she was able to get more kind of strength. Is that a thing? Does how tall you are on your bench in relation to the floor make a difference?
Yeah, and that can help you get better leg drive, elevating your feet for some people. Also with your mobility, like if you don't have as good of hip mobility to where you're able to walk your feet back quite as much, the elevated feet can help because you're able to push into the ground more. And even at powerlifting meets, like you're allowed to ask them to put boards under your feet to elevate your feet on.
Mhm.
So that's not something like you should shy away from if you need that elevation.
Yeah.
And it helps you get better leg drive. I think you're allowed up to like a 6-inch elevation for your feet.
Oh, really? For
Yeah.
like competition?
And my first one, I needed it, but the second two, I haven't, just because your mobility gets better. Like the more you do it,
Yeah.
it changes. That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah. And like, so like earlier we've got 2 benches in this gym. One is a taller bench. And then I was like putting my feet and I'm like, my feet aren't like getting that leg drive that I need. So yeah, absolutely. We see that a lot where we're like, okay, just put something underneath your feet.
Yeah.
Or if you're like vertically challenged and the bench is bigger, you know,
Yeah, you
put
might
it
always
on there.
need it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Judith, I don't even know what my 1 rep max is, but I would anticipate that it was probably right about 10 pounds.
We're gonna go for it now. That's the highlight of today's form clinic. Linda's new PR.
Well, we won't be here very long, will we? I mean, I think everybody, but that's the thing, right? I don't let it get into my head so much where I'm like, I suck. I'm like, I'm really good at other things. I'm really good at, I don't know, what am I good at, Mary?
You're good at shoulder presses.
I'm okay at shoulder presses. I have a lot of.
You're great at leg day. You crush leg
Yeah,
day.
leg day is my jam, but I have learned to really, really enjoy upper body day. I just don't lift as heavy, and that's okay, right? I don't let it get into my head that, oh my God, I'm a failure. So yeah, probably about 10 pounds, Judith. There we go. Melinda has practiced failing. You know what, guys? I think that is like one of the smartest things, because once you know how to fail and get out of it safely, it changes something in your mindset, right? Where you're just like, all right, what's the worst that can happen? All of my life, I've always put that in my head. What's the worst that can happen, right? If it's death, maybe I won't do this without some help at first, but really practicing that, like practice bailing out, practice like hitting those, like, you know, your safeties. I've seen people do that on like RDLs as well, and it's like, it's like, what's the worst that can happen, guys? Or squats, right? Squats are a big one that you see people are like, oh, I'm scared to go down too low because what happens? Well, what happens is those safeties are there for a reason, and there you go, off you go. So I think that's awesome.
Especially if you train alone, and if you
Mhm.
don't train alone, get a spotter. Like,
Yeah.
Even on squats, it's so helpful mentally to know there are people around there to help you.
Yeah, I agree.
And you'll end up pushing more.
Yep. No, Shelby, seriously, 10 pounds, man. 10 pounds. I got this. Any other questions before we see Mary actually like crush it?
We'll just do a couple of heavier reps. Just
Yeah.
and you can put everything together. Like as I'm doing it, just talk about the form and maybe bring the camera over. So
Oh, we're going over. We're walking towards Mary. Mary, what are we
Follow
going
instructions,
with?
so
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Wait. Oh, here we go. Oh, shit.
Like one of those lens things.
Yeah, like, wow, it's like a GoPro right now. Okay, Mary.
Okay.
Hopefully you guys can see this, right?
Squeezing the shoulders back.
There she goes. Is this a good angle, guys? Yay.
Feet are flat. Eyes are under the bar.
Look
My
at her.
grip is where I keep my grip.
Not to be like funny or anything like that, but look at Mary's feet right now. Do you see how they're not pointed forward? Right? They're like kind of like her toes are pointed out. So that's something as well to pay attention
My butt
to.
is just squeezed and hovering over the bench. It's not laying on the bench either.
Let's take a look at Mary's butt. Beautiful, Mary. What a butt.
My favorite. Okay, and then pinkies are squeezing that bar, elbows are tucked in. I'm gonna breathe into my chest. Up.
Beautiful. And see how she's got all of that tension is in her body. Like she is tight. There's nothing slack there. So Shelby, when you were talking about kind of like feeling that wobble, the reason why Mary's not wobbling is because literally now she's like just battering through the wall there, but every part of her was tensed, right? Her shoulders kept on going back. Her core was tight, her lats were engaged, her butt was squeezed, the feet were pressing in. So there was nothing
there was nothing.
Yeah,
What's the word?
my body is
It's
more
just-
tired than my chest and my arms right
Yeah.
now. Like my whole body feels it.
That makes sense.
So it's a full body movement. It's not just arms.
That's a really good point, Mary, because like it's the same with like deadlifts, guys. Full body.
Oh yeah.
People are like,
Yeah.
I'm just pulling it. Well, no, you're not pulling it. Okay, I'm just pushing it. Nope, not that either. Like your whole body, it has to take kind of like part in the fun. So I love that.
Yeah, this was fun.
That was
My
fun.
favorite lift. Thank
The
you all for being
Mary's
here.
favorite lift and Linda's least favorite
Yeah.
lift, but we're here for you guys. For anybody, if we don't have any other questions, does anybody have any requests on like next month, I guess?
Yeah, I have
right?
some ideas.
You have
but if
some
we have,
ideas?
and they are things that people have requested.
Mhm.
Variations of dumbbell rows,
Dude.
whether we're hitting our rear delts or our lats or
I
our
think that's a good one.
mid back or our wide or our
Mhm.
thoracic.
I think
They
rows
confuse
are
the
like-
shit out of people.
Dude, I know. Do you guys want to have rows next time, or is there something else that you want to add to the mix? Oh, okay. Yes, no, maybe so. Anybody give us
Hands
thumbs
up,
hands
thumbs up,
thumbs
something.
up?
Emily, we see you big on the screen. Give us some feedback here.
Yeah.
That's a question.
Kelly has a question though.
I was gonna
Oh,
say
Judith.
Kelly had a
Go.
Go, Kelly. You first.
Sometimes I get like a pinching pain in my shoulder. I'm so sorry. I had to take a call for work and so if that question was answered, I really apologize. But sometimes when you start to squeeze your shoulders back, it's almost like a cramp where you've got to like let that out really quickly or it's going to hurt very badly.
Let's see, I would think, Kelly, to make sure when you're squeezing them back, that they're also like back away from your ears, that they're not shrugged up at all, that you're keeping your
Yeah.
elbows tucked in really well when you're doing that. Those are the main things I would look at. And warming up your shoulders before you get into
Yeah.
your warm-up sets, like doing some band up and overs.
Or even pull apart.
If you have a lacrosse ball, doing that like pec release, that really helps.
Mhm.
Yeah,
just like
it's more
rubbing it
so
on-
in the back than it is in the chest.
It'll still help.
Yeah.
It'll still loosen
Okay.
everything up.
Whenever you're like pinching, I'm always our shoulder is like in a weird position, right? I
Mhm.
mean, you could potentially look at where your elbow positioning is as well, Kelly. Possibly.
Yeah.
But I think Mary's spot on as far as like the shoulder and just making sure you warm up. I love up and overs, man. I'll like even do those.
I do
on
the
more days.
lacrosse ball, the pec deck release, and up and overs before any workout, even before
Yeah.
lower body
Yeah.
days, just to get my shoulders right. So,
Shoulders, yeah.
yeah, I would look at shoulder mobility work.
Because we really like warm ups.
Yeah, we're good at them. I do the same
Thank
warm-ups
you.
for any work. Everyone.
All right. Who
I
else?
think Judith had
Yeah,
stuff.
Judith, what you got?
I don't. I was just saying Kelly had a question.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
all right.
Thank
Judith.
you.
Come up with a question, Judith.
Cool. Well, if rows sound good to everyone, that's good. We
Okay.
have some other ideas,
Yeah.
but if you have anything else in mind, you know where to find us.
Yay.
Tag us.
Cool? Yes? All right.
Cool.
Thanks so much, guys. Happy Thursday.
Yep. See y'all later.
Bye.